Hello there folks, so I was thinking about doing a video of my top 30 to top 11 because I already did my top 10 of all time in the Würfelcast episode with Kyle. We both did our lists, but eventually I recorded 30 to 11 and I didn't really like the flow. I was, talking about how I was talking about the game, so I was like, I should do it again, I should record again. And then I thought like, why not make the whole video, the whole top 30 and include my top 10 as well, because then this will be the definitive video of my top games and you can see the covers as well. I can edit it because with Würfelcast it's Google Hangouts and it's live, so with different, Kyle is in US, I'm in Estonia, it's you can't really edit stuff in there. So you have to do live in one spot. But anyway, this is not the case right now. We're talking about my top 30 games of all time. And now there is a small caveat about this one, is that when I choose these games, these are the games that are on my shelf. And why I'm emphasizing that is because I've played quite a few games already and I like quite a few games. And I rate some games extremely high, 10, 9 and so on, that are not in my collection anymore. I still love those games, or I mean, at least I have good memories about those games. But for few reasons I've got rid of them from my collection because maybe I cannot get them to the table and so on. I don't play them that much. And at some point I feel like I cannot rate them because I have to play them. And also there are different play groups I'm playing with, and I want games to fit those play styles, those play groups, those people I'm playing with, and that's where I call my collection. I want to have 50 games in total in my collection at most, and I've basically done that. So as of now I have less games right now. I have less than 50, but there are some games that are coming from Kickstarter this year, and the total is then 50 games. So basically, I achieved my goal of doing that. But let's just roll through my top 30 games of all time, and let's start with number 30. And my number 30 is a game that caught my eye with its cover, and that's Rise of Tribes. And Rise of Tribes itself is a very, I would say, rather light game. You can add some expansions or things, extras, to make it a little bit more difficult, and it has more meat on the bones that you can imagine when first reading about the game. But this one is like a civilization game where you need to get to a certain amount of points and then you win the game. But it's on the light side, the area control, everything like that, those hexes, you basically grab the resources and you build villages. And you need to spend those resources to build villages, and then you're grabbing technologies as well. And grabbing some scoring opportunity cards, And the whole package. I have the deluxe version, by the way, and I feel like this one has elevated the game for me because of that deluxe version, because those deluxe pieces just amazing. But Rise of Tribes is very streamlined civilization game that has very satisfying components and art. That's Rise of Tribes, number 30. My number 29 is another beautifully produced game, and I got it from Kickstarter, and that's Near and Far. And in Near and Far you have the similar book to Above and Below, but the stories are more engaging, and you have a nicer, I would say, I like the mechanics or mechanisms of Near and Far more than Above and Below. Above and Below is, it's nice, it's a good a Euro game with the story elements. And Near and Far has better mechanics in my opinion. And you go exploring, but you're in a town first, you do kind of a worker placement stuff, and you are gearing up and you are kind of building up yourself, which I really like in games. And then you're going to explore and build out the tents that you need to build and so on, and fight the bandits and so on. So you have enough things to do, and the story elements add to the overall gameplay and the enjoyment of that. So, and Ryan Lockwood's amazing art and components, especially for the, you know, I have the deluxeified, I mean, the Kickstarter version. But near and far, number 28. Sorry, number 29. Yeah. But number 28, let's talk about that. So my number 28 is one of the biggest surprises I had in a while, and that's Cosmogenesis. And in Cosmogenesis, you are creating planetary systems, and that's where it caught my eye because, first of all, the box cover is really, really nice. I love the box cover, and I like space-themed games, but I like more of that scientific part of these games. Like Terraforming Mars is a great example of that, where you have more science, more Euro-ish stuff than just, you know, 4X with aliens and races and fighting each other and huge ships and whatever, you know, planets, blah, blah. In this one, you are creating planetary systems and you are colliding planets with each other, and thus the one planet is becoming smaller, or you're colliding meteorites into the planets so you can get living species on them and so on, and blah, blah. And it just, on those different, you're building them on those different belts, and you're trying to maximize your kind of, it's not engine building, but it kind of feels you always build up and you want to get to the most points, and it has very streamlined, very simple worker placement aspect to it, and you will always do all the actions on the board. You will not skip them, but in what order you do them, and it also relies on the opportunities, like, I mean, it relies on where your opponents will go and so on. So basically, this is a really nice surprise of a Euro game with scientific space theme, and I like that very much. That's Cosmogenesis 28. 27 is one of the new games, and when I did the previous 30 to 11, when I first recorded it, it wasn't on the list because I just played it recently, and that's Detective, the modern crime board game. Something like that. So, and Detective, and I wasn't sure if I would like it because it uses the computer. Sorry, it uses the computer. It uses not the app, but it's more like a Sherlock Holmes type game with deduction elements, and it's more serious. And I was like, I have another game that will be higher on the list that can be compared to that one, and I was like, maybe it will be a little bit too heavy of a deduction game for me. But to be honest, I was extremely surprised. It was so interesting. You were in the game the whole time thinking, yeah, it was hard, it was serious, but it felt very thematic. How you insert those fingerprints and stuff and all the names in the database, and then you're reading all the history things, and there's that internet thing going on where you can Google stuff as well, or go to Wikipedia and, you know, get some more information about the topics that are used, that are actual topics from real life, and that adds to the theme and the whole aspect of learning some really cool stuff, you know. But yeah, the Detective, an extremely good and well-produced deduction game. That's 27, Detective, the modern crime board game. Number 26 is a co-op game that, when I looked at this one, it was on Kickstarter, I was like, I'm not sure I'm gonna like it. It seems to be not my style. And then I played it, and then I loved it, and I wanted to get it for myself. And that's Burgle Brothers. And Burgle Brothers is all about puzzling out your way, trying to get those safes, and then trying to get the dice, and then rolling the dice in order to open the safe. But then you get the loot, but the loot sometimes is not good for you because it will not curse you, but there's some things like it will be in the way, you know. But you need to get the loot. You need to get the loot from every floor, 1, 2, 3 floors, and then escape to the roof in order to win the game. And there's those policemen and guards roaming around, and it's all about just puzzling out where to go, where the guard moves, and so on, how to get all the puzzle maximized, basically. And it looks nice, the theme is great, and the puzzle aspect, the game itself is not very hard, it's rather streamlined. I like this one. It's one of the best co-ops I've played for a long time, and that's Burgle Brothers 26. My number 25 is a party game, and that's the one that I wasn't sure I would like it that much, but basically I've played Codenames and I like Codenames. I don't own Codenames anymore because this other one is just so much faster and so much more engaging. And talking about Insider. And in Insider you have words and you have the master, and then you have the hidden roles as well, comments, and the Insider himself. And the cool part is that we're all working together, but we need to figure out who is the Insider, who is the one who knows the word as well. And then we can win and Insider loses, or Insider can win alone, but we are still cooperating all together, and the Insider needs to kind of push us towards better topics, you know, so we can guess the words. And it's very engaging, it's very fast, and all the time when we play Insider with my colleagues from work, for example, we play many rounds because somebody else wants to be master, and it's very stressful to be Insider. Sometimes it's really hard to be Insider, but you know, you just play this small game for a small amount of time and play it again. And sometimes, I mean, like sometimes the Insider role can fail, but it's rare and not really relevant. You will still have a lot of fun. That's Insider number 25. Number 24 is a game I backed on Kickstarter, but I wasn't sure I would like it. I don't know why I backed it. Maybe because I just like the movement of those cards on the rails, and I'm talking about Off the Rails. And in Off the Rails, you have those cards and you have speed, you have dice on them that basically tell you what's the speed of the card, and then you're building those rails and trying to get the gems until the mine collapses and you're like goblins or whatever you are. And it's really cool where you like building up things, and it's really rather streamlined, and the production is very nice. The only problem I have, the cards are a bit thin, and there's like a little bit too much purple. But by the way, I heard that there will be expansion for that game. I'm very much excited about the expansion. But this one is, yeah, it's really easy. And the more people play it, let's say the maximum number is 4. If 4 people are playing the game, then you will bump into each other, and then, you know, it depends if 2 cards go front, then they will bump, and then they will turn on the rails and go the other way. And sometimes you want to bump into someone in order for them to lose crystals, or you want to turn your card around much faster than just building the rails and the way out. You will go into that, and then you have limited space in the card, and then you're grabbing those gems, but until you get back out of the board, you will not claim those gems to score. And very easy, very nice production. Overally, maybe a little bit too much purple, but I like Off the Rails very much. That's 24. 23 is another newer game that my first play with I wasn't that enamored, and then the second play I liked it a little bit more, and then the more I played, the more I understand it, the more I love it, and that's Wildlands. And Wildlands is a skirmish PvP type game where you have those different factions and they feel different, and you have a rather streamlined mechanism of multi-use cards. You're using those symbols, and if they match the characters, you can move that character and you can do a special action with it, you know, attack, defend, whatever, and or dash or fly, depends on the faction as well. And it's very easy. You just collect crystals or you kill other people. You need to get to 5 points, and that's it. And I like the placement mechanic at the beginning, where the crystals go, where the people go, and it's very engaging. It's very fast. You have the interruption mechanic as well. Just overly a really cool package. I have the review of that as well, by the way, so you can take a look at Wildlands. I really recommend Wildlands. The production is also great. It's Osprey Games. Loved it. So that's 23 Wildlands. 22 is another greatly produced game. I don't know if mine is the Kickstarter copy, so probably I have some extras, but this one is the Grim Forest, and it looks amazing. And why I love it so much, because people say that it's extremely light, and for some it's a little bit too light. It is, but I love outguessing, outsmarting. I like the mechanic where we kind of select our roles, and these are not roles, but you select the locations where you go to, and if you go there together, you have to share resources, or if you go there alone, you can grab all the resources for yourself. But it's very streamlined. It's very easy, extremely easy. But what spices up the game and makes it be rather high on my personal top are the Fable cards and friend cards. Those friend cards are different and they have really cool, kind of a groundbreaking abilities. And the Fable cards, they will change the situation on the board and how you grab the resources and what stays or something blocks you or whatever, different monsters as well. So those Fable cards, depending on what card is played by all the players, you know, and they can trigger in different timings and so on. So just really cool that the outguessing, outsmarting part is just doubled because of those Fable cards, because you see that he played a Fable card and they're like, maybe he wants to mess with that place or that place, you know, and depends on the decisions as well. But anyway, the production is great. You're building those the Green Forest is basically about pigs building their houses, and you need to build 3 houses, and then you see if you like, whoever built the 3 houses, they will win. But sometimes there are some different tiebreakers as well, the sturdiest houses and so on. But Fable cards, friend cards make the game amazing for me, and the production is just stellar. That's the Green Forest, number 22. Number 21 is another game from Ryan Lockett, and that one is a bigger one. And I backed it on Kickstarter because it looked really cool, and I thought like, I'm not into 4X space-themed games, but this one sounds a little bit more Euro-y and a little bit more towards my style. And I wasn't wrong. And that's Empires of the Void 2nd edition, or Empires of the Void 2. And the production is just amazing. It looks great on the table. It takes a lot of space, and it's not an easy game to learn. I mean, like, there's a lot of rules, but once you get it going, you really know what to do, and you have your own player board, and you collect the resources in order to activate different rows. That's basically making those, and as you build the houses, your rows become better but more expensive. But if you get the resources and put on these tracks, you can make them less expensive. So basically you're trying to get them more powerful and less expensive. And those different technologies, it's all through the resources. But then on the map itself, you have your own units, but eventually if you influence different planets, you can use their units, you can buy their units in order to fight as well. And the fighting isn't very aggressive, but it's still there. But I mean, it's rather easy to follow the fight as well, and you have the pick up and deliver missions as well, and so on, and a little bit of story in it. And just the whole package is a great, heavier, space-themed kind of 4X Euro game. And that's Empires of the Void 2, my number 21. My number 20 is another civilization building game, and this one is card-based, and that's the Flow of History. And the Flow of History is an amazing package, and I got the deluxe version. So My Ideas Game Design did the first version. I really liked it. We got a review copy, so we reviewed it as well, and was like, wow, that's really cool. There was a Guns and Steel was another game, a civilization game from the same designer, and then the Flow of History came, and I was like, wow, amazing. And it's all about cards, and you're building those cards, but you have different types of cards, and you can only have one of each type activated. But as you build up those different cards, you get more icons, different icons that you can use as well. And there's attacking aspect as well. There's that PvP style thing. But the cool part is the bidding, where if somebody overbids you, you get more resources back. And there's the splitting of the resources as well. Just, you know, you have to play it. It's very different. There is a review of that game as well. Take a look at that one. And the new Team G Deluxe version is just so great and looks really amazing. And it's very streamlined card-based civilization game. I love card games. I love civilization themes. Just, it's my spot. And that's 20, the Flow of History. 19 is another game that at first I wasn't sure. I didn't back it on Kickstarter, and now I was like, I should have backed it because I really like those metal coins and things and extras. But this one is World Wars, and in World Wars is like Storage Wars themed There was TV series Storage Wars, where and in this one, this is the fantasy themed, where you have those different chests or vaults that you want to open and you bid for them, and there's the master bidder who knows the whole information about the vault, and the other ones will get only a peek, will get a partial information. So everyone, I like that the aspect where everyone has a partial information and you bid, and sometimes you bluff by bidding too much, and then somebody's like, there should be something really great, then I'll bid more money, and then you're like and sometimes you fail in that, you bid a lot of money and everybody else like, I'm not gonna risk, you know, and then you have to pay a lot of money for junk, and there's junk and there's are cool things. It's all about the set collection, and there are some cards that are equipment cards that spice up the game. Not all the things are well, not all the cards are well done in my opinion in World Wars, and I would have loved to have more content for now, because it can eventually, it doesn't have huge replayability. It has good replayability, but a huge one, and I feel like I would love to see expansion for that game. But as it is, the whole package is also extremely great, and so far with all the people I played it, basically 99% of them liked it, you know. And that's World Wars number 19. And number 18 is a game that killed, though I never liked Dixit, but, and I'm talking about here Mysterium. I really enjoy the aspect of having a progression. Dixit for me is just, it's pure thing about you put out the card, you say something, everybody puts it out, you know, and then you compare, blah, blah, whatever. It's an activity which is boring to me. But in Mysterium, and I played the old Polish version, by the way, with the new version that I have of Mysterium, I still play the older rules, and you can do different rulings there, minor things you can change for your own satisfaction. But I really like those Dixit size cards and those dreams the ghosts give you, and how you try to connect the logic between players and the ghost, and you're working together and you're trying to guess those cards, and it's extremely beautiful. The new Asmodee edition is extremely beautiful. Those extra rules, who cares about them? I don't care about them at all. I just played, you know, the basic version. But I like to be a ghost. I like to be a player who gets those cards and tries to understand the dreams of a ghost or their own dreams. Just an amazing experience all the time I play it, and that's Mysterium number 18. Number 17 is another cooperative game, and that's a card-based game, but I wasn't sure if I would like it that much. And there's the new version, by the way, coming out based on that same system. And I'm talking about The Last Expedition. And The Last Expedition is all about you going through the jungle, and it's a puzzle type co-op game. But it's on a lighter side based on the rules. It's really easy to follow. It's great with 2 players. You can play with more players. I'm totally fine playing it with more players as well. But I like the whole package of huge cards and the art. At first I wasn't sure if I would like the art, but love it. And the puzzles of where to give out the resources or where to grab the resources, and where we need to get the hit and where not. It just really cool aspects about this small card-based co-op puzzle game. And yeah, I would just definitely recommend it. And there's the Judge Dredd version coming out as well with some extra rules and things. I'm totally looking forward to that. That's The Last Expedition, number 17. Number 16 is a heavier title, and this is the German Euro. And I wasn't sure I would like it. I basically ignored this game for years, and then was like, Then I played another game, and I decided that maybe I should try Russian Railroads. And I'm talking about, yes, Russian Railroads. Because it was said that they are a little bit similar, and if I liked the other one, I'm going to talk about it later. And then I'm going to like Russian Railroads as well. And surprise, I really liked it. Building up your engine, and the worker placement aspect, and those the money that you use as kind of an extra workers or something like that, and building those tracks and progressing. It's just an amazing experience. I like it very much. I like building up, and that and I like hero games that are rather streamlined, and they have I like games that have a lot of meat, but they are rather streamlined, and Russian Railroads does that. It's a point salad game, but it's extremely streamlined in an essence of rules, but it's very meaty. You need to think in this game. That's not an easy game to strategize, but that's easy game to follow because of the worker placement is rather basic and everything else is just building up. I just love Russian Railroads, so it's number 16. And number 15 is that other game that I was talking about. That one is the first one I played, and then I decided to buy Russian Railroads as well. And I'm talking about First Class. And First Class is also very similar to that, where you're building up those wagons and you're grabbing the cars from the center, which give you different things, and you can upgrade your cars to higher numbers, basically, to get more points. But you need to move your conductors, and you have the other track, the rail track as well, so you can expand rail track. You can try different things, different strategies, and you can also, there are several modules in the game where you will mix and match different modules with each game, and thus the replayability is great, and the game gives you a lot of content, and it's just another point salad, very satisfying, streamlined point salad Euro game, and I just adore it. And that's First Class, number 15. My 14 is a small card game which uses colors and numbers, but it's extremely smart, and I've played it. Last summer I played it a ton because my colleagues from work and some of them who I showed it to just loved it, and they like, do you have Red 7 with you? Do you have Red 7 with you? And we were in the terrace, it was summer, you know, and just grabbing a few drinks and playing that game on the terrace. And I'm talking about Red 7. And some people might not like Red 7, but Red 7 is extremely smart, small card game where you have numbers and colors, and you are building your palette so you can kind of stay in the game for longer. And each time you play a card, if you play a card, you kind of win the round and you can stay in the game, and then the other person, and then the other person, and you need to be smart. And there are some extra rules that you add, how to draw extra cards, and just makes it very satisfying. That's Red 7, number 14. Number 13 is one of the most beautiful worlds and games, and that's Abyss. And in Abyss, with the expansions, by the way, because the expansions add a lot to this whole package. The package itself, the base content, is rather streamlined and very easy to follow. It's very easy. You have this push-select mechanism, you have those pearls that you bid with, and then you have those lords, and then you get the lords, and then afterwards you get the locations, and you try to get the most points. But the whole package, the whole world comes through, the art and the gameplay itself for me as well. And if you add the expansions, you add more complexity, but it gives you more opportunities as well. And that's what this game needs, but in its base form as well. It's a very good game because it's extremely streamlined, it's accessible, and it's very beautiful to look at. And you can play with different folks, different players, different the ones who are not big gamers and the ones who are gamers. I've seen quite a few people enjoy this game, and that's Abyss, number 13. Number 12 is another game in it's not from the same company that's Abyss, but it's the same designer basically. Collaboration. I mean, one of them is Bruno Cathala, and I love Bruno Cathala. He's my favorite designer, and I'm talking about Yamatai. And though I had Five Tribes before, but Yamatai for me is a little bit more meatier because I really enjoy Five Tribes. I don't have it on my shelf, so it will not be in my top. If it would be on my shelf, it would be in my top. But in Yamatai you are building up. So in Five Tribes you are taking away, and eventually you don't have much on the board, but you're basically building yourself up with the points, and you're grabbing those gins. And here you are also you start the same, and I really like it as a two-player game where I have two biddings, and basically I can do 2 rounds in a row or 2 in indifference per let's say, turns per the whole round. And this one is extremely beautiful, great production, but you're building those boats around those islands, and these are kind of, the boats are resources, so you can build the different buildings on those islands, and you're trying to make those connections as well. But the coolest part, you're grabbing those specialists that add the symmetry to the game. And eventually, by the end of the game, if you look, you are very different from another player, because you focused on these specialists, and these specialists give you bonuses on these aspects, and it helps you strategize. It helps you kind of find a way to play better, because when you're grabbing those specialists, you will concentrate on those specialists and their bonus, because otherwise, why did you grab the specialist if it's not of a value to you? So you will use those specialists, and thus you will use those certain actions as well. And that's where I feel like I built my engine, and I progressed, and I'm very different from another player. So the whole package, great, amazing. This is one of the most watched reviews out there. I mean, on our channel, it's the most watched review on Würfel reviews. By the way, it's just an amazing game. That's Yamatai, number 12. Number 11 is another building game, and I love building things, and I told this already many times. And I'll talk about Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And Castle of Mad King Ludwig is a very streamlined, basically kind of another point salad, but kind of is. You're building those different rooms, you're trying to make your own castle, and every time your castle is very different, sprawling or concentrated, and you are trying to connect different rooms in order to score points between them, and then to get, if you close the room, you connect all the doors, then you also get those really cool bonuses that add to the spice of the game. And then you're a master builder, you need to be wise how to spend the money. And when you're a master builder, you will gain money, but you will price the rooms. And when you're not, the other place will price the rooms. I like the pricing of the rooms as well, what you do in there. Just the whole package is great. I love building, and I love the bidding aspect as well, and kind of relocating the prices of different rooms, and just bonuses. Like, the whole package is just so much fun. And also you can play with different counts of players. It fits everyone, in my opinion, at least in my playing groups. And that's Castles of Mad King Ludwig, number 11. And now let's go to my last 10, or the first 10. And my number 10 is a newcomer to my top, and that's Rising Sun. And Rising Sun is an amazing package. I have the Kickstarter copy where I have all those plastic things. And of course, it elevates this game for me. Because of that extra production, I have this playmat, and will never play it on the board when I have the playmat, because it's really cool, and those different monsters. We're not gonna talk about production. You have heard about Rising Sun. But Rising Sun reminds me of Blood Rage. I don't own Blood Rage anymore. I loved Blood Rage, but this one, hey, that's negotiation part, let it be. I don't care about that much. But I like how only certain territories score each time, and then you need to gather those troops over there, and you still have many similarities to Blood Rage, but you don't have that card drafting mechanism. All the cards for each age are laid out, and you can buy them from the central market, basically. And I like the aspect of choosing actions that the other ones will also get, but you will get more as a chooser of that action. So it's not an easy game, but it's not a hard game as well. It's somewhere in the medium. It has a lot going on, but it's all very engaging and very easy to follow, in my opinion. I just love this game. I don't really like war type area control games, but this one just hits the spot, because you are customizing yourself throughout the game. And it's the same with the Yamatai, where you grab the specialists. Here you grab those different cards, and eventually you become very different from other players. You have your own monsters, you have your own clan with your own clan abilities, and they're very different and just amazing. I love Rising Sun. That's my number 10. My number 9 is that other deduction game that's much more I would say not streamlined, but it's lighter. And that's Chronicles of Crime, which uses the app, uses the QR codes, but you are the only nuisance maybe is always using the QR code, but the engagement in this game, the deduction elements, and how easy it is to play the game, because I can just take this game out. There will be people who are not gamers, and I would say, let's play Chronicles of Crime. And I don't have to teach them anything before that. We just start playing and they realize how easy it is. And they say that, you see, I scanned here, and if you like to go to that location, or like as we play the game, I explain them different things, what we should do, and they get the game very easily, and it's just so much fun. You're so much into this game that you don't see how the time flies by. I just love Chronicles of Crime. One of the best games out there for now, deduction games. And number 8 is another game with epic stories, cinematics, and just amazing, just an amazing art, amazing idea, and very innovative idea, and that's Time Stories. Time Stories has dropped for me, but it has dropped for me because of some of these scenarios and some of these, you know, repetitives where you have to start all over again with your new run. And that's a bit of a nuisance. But still, this game gives me a lot of experience and theme and stories, and I still love it each time I play it. But maybe I'm starting to getting tired of that same system. I want the system to be a little bit different. I want them to fix it up. And I heard about the last expansion of the White Series, Madame, which fixes one thing, is that it fixes that you don't have to start all over again if you lose the run, and you will lose the runs, and you don't have to start all over again. You can choose a different starting point, and I like that. And there will be now Blue Series as well, which will probably change the mechanics and most likely make the game even better, and it will rise up in my personal top. But I love Time Stories. That's number 8. My number 7 is a small, and I would say 2-player game, because I would never play it with 3 or 4. That's Santorini, and that's an abstract strategy game, but it comes in this cool package of you're building up those buildings, and you need to get to the 3rd floor, and you're trying to stop each other from getting on the roof on the top floor. So if somebody gets on top floor, you win, and it's very easy. It's very engaging. You move and build, you move and build, you move and build. And that's the only things you do. But how you do it, where to stop. And you have 2 pawns, and that's where you strategize. So that pawn goes here, that pawn goes over here. But if you get your pawns too much into different directions, then you will not help each other. Those 2 pawns will not help each other build up things and maybe stop another player. So, and the cool part that adds to that one are those god powers or the monster powers, whatever they are. Basically, you have those special power cards that are game breaking. Basically, you have a ton of different cards over there, and each card feels like it's overpowered. But so is mine, and so is my opponent's card. They're both overpowered, and how we use that huge power in our advantage in order to win. So one of the best 2-player games, if not the best 2-player game, abstract one, that's Santorini, number 7. Number 6 is another extremely cool game where I didn't think I would like it that much, but I just love it. I adore it. Each time I play it, I love it. And that's Stockpile. And in Stockpile, you are using, you're basically bidding, not bidding, but you are gaining those different stocks, and you're speculating on the stock market. And some companies will go down in price, some will go bankrupt, some will go high in price and double their value as well. And you have only a part of information for that, but you can you can bluff sometimes, and you're trying to get the most money. And it's so streamlined, it's so well done. The partial information thing, I just love it in this game, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who likes games with partial information and that push your luck aspect as well, and you know, set collection and so on. So Stockpile, love this stock market themed game. Number 6. Number 5 is another game, and as I told you, I like outguessing, outsmarting. Like in Stockpile, there's also a lot of that outguessing, outsmarting. But in this one, you're choosing different roles and you're trying to guess what other people will choose as well. So, because that can totally influence your way of play or how your turn ends. And that's Mission Red Planet. First of all, there's the second edition, which is much more beautiful and has the moon, and it's just a great production from Fantasy Flight Games. But it's also very streamlined, very easy. You have those production things, and then you go to those different spots on Mars and grab those resources, and it's all about area control and things. But the coolest part, the main part of this game are the roll cards. So you choose the roll cards, they have numbers and they have abilities. And you're trying to guess what others will do, because if the numbers matter in what order they activate, and the number 9 activates before number 1, but number 1 is cooler ability maybe, and that's where you need to guess and try to see if they will blow up your plans, the other opponents, or not. And it's so much satisfaction, it's so much fun doing that in this game that I just love it. And that's Mission Red Planet, number 5. But number 4, and that's the game that got back higher on my personal top, because I started playing the campaign mode of the last expansion. And I'm talking about Scythe, and I'm talking about Scythe Rise of Fenris, the expansion. We started playing campaign mode with colleagues from work who are not really gamers, and some of them, they have hard time maybe strategizing, but they do understand the game and they enjoy it a lot. And the expansion, the modular campaign expansion, elevates the game to the new heights. It just makes it amazing, and that's where I have an excuse to play it a lot of times in a row. And I just love the whole package. The Scythe itself, I know some people don't like it because it shows mechs and robots and then it's not a war game. Who cares? Take the game as it is. Read about the game then. Why are you surprised that it's not war game? And do you only buy based on cover? If you buy based on cover, then that's your own fault. You have big risks. But this game looks amazing, and I like engine building part in this game, where you do the top row action, bottom row action, and then you can do the upgrades in order to make the bottom row actions less expensive, and you get those mechs out, that's customizing yourself, and you have those faction abilities and different playing mats, and they're kind of different from each other with each player. And you get those mechs out, thus unlocking new abilities for the mechs and your character and those encounters, and you start building up on your own tiny island kinda, and then you get the river walk, and then you spread out and you get to the factory or whatever. The campaign mode adds different aspects or different flows of the game, flows, and also kind of gives you new winning conditions and so on. That's where it adds to the game so much. It's not only about the stars. And sometimes if you get those stars out really fast, you might not win the game. It's all about the economy in this game and tight resource management and building up your engine. At first it's really hard, but then towards the end you feel like your engine is running so smoothly and you just love it. And that's Scythe number 4. My number 3 is a small cheat and I use it for quite a few lists and years already, and I'm talking about escape room games. Unlock, exit. I put them in the same pot because eventually they do the same, and they have different, and sometimes I like unlock scenarios better, sometimes like exit scenarios better, or the escape room, the game. I like all of them. I like all of them the same. I cannot really differentiate them. They have different mechanics. They have different, mechanics. But eventually they're all about the escape room experience in a box. And I just love it. I adore it. It's all about deduction and going through things and puzzles and working together just an amazing experience. Unlock has more graphics, while Exit has maybe cooler puzzles, but they do those systems very differently. But still, I feel like all of these kind of are the same thing, which is escape room games. And that's my number 3. My number 2 is a game I adore because of the worker placement and the area control. Area control, this one is big, but it's not warish, and the worker placement aspect of this game is just amazing. And I'm talking about Empire's Age of Discovery, where you have different workings and they act differently depending on where you put them. And just, it's amazing. And then you get the goods and you get your economy going through the goods. So you're building up the economy. Great, I love building up. Then you get those different buildings which give you special abilities, extra workers, and kind of get your engine running. I love that. And then you go discover or you get more gold and blah blah. It's all about resource management and managing your workers to the maximum and getting those people out in the new world so you can win by area control as well and get a lot of points. I just love it. It's amazing. It's Empire's Age of Discovery number 2. And finally, my favorite game of all time for many years. I just love it because it's so streamlined. It's so well done, it looks great, I love the theme, and that's Cyclades. And in Cyclades, you have those mythological monsters, and I like that they come only for one turn. You don't buy them basically, and then you get them. You hire them for a moment so you can get more help. And you need to get to Metropolis, you don't need to destroy anyone. You have to build 2 metropolises, and you build those different buildings, or you get philosophers, whatever. And the money management, which is money is basically resource, is very tight, and bidding all those different gods. And then there's the different expansions. I really like Hades expansion. Not all the modules, but I like Hades expansion. I think that Cyclades with Hades expansion is much better than Cyclades Titans. I don't like Titans. Titans make it like Kemet. More straightforward, more into your face, more like a war game rather than just a perfect hybrid game. It takes away from the hybrid experience, which I adore about this game. And I just like, who cares then? I really like these ships. I really like building those routes with the ships. I really love it. And hiding those monsters in order to get to other islands and so on. But Titans, no. But you can also add monuments as well, which also add to the game. So you can play Hades and Monuments, for example, and those 2 expansions, the other one is smaller, will add to the base game enough in order to make it very satisfying. And that's Cyclades, my number 1, my most favorite game. And that's it, folks. I know it's a longer video, but it's 30 games, and I like to talk about my favorite games. So thank you for watching, and comments under the video below telling me about your favorite games, and if you agree with me about these games that I wrote down, and maybe you say that this game is a huge mistake, this game is garbage and so on. Why not? People like different games, but tell me everything in the comments below. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where I post updates or anything like that, links to videos and so on. Or you can ask me anything through there. Instagram, I post pictures. Facebook, I post pictures and blah blah blah. So a lot of things. And yeah, we see you in yet another video. Bye bye. This channel is sponsored by Osprey Games. Check them out at ospreypublishing.com.